In the year 2075, deep under the surface of Earth, inside a quiet medical facility, a man lay still in a glass chamber. His name was Tom. His body did not move. His chest rose and fell slowly. His eyes never opened. He had been sleeping for 30 years. This medical center was called Station 12, a forgotten place used long ago during the early space age. Now, it only had a few doctors and machines to care for special coma patients. Most people didn't even know it still existed. One day, a new doctor came to Station 12. Her name was Lena. She was young, smart, and full of questions. Lena didn't like normal things. She liked puzzles. And when she arrived at the facility, she saw something that made her stop and stare. It was room 9. Inside was Tom. His glass chamber looked different from the others. There were strange wires, old machines, and unreadable labels on the side. Most of the patients were in coma because of sickness or accidents. But not Tom. His file said, Subject 09, unknown, energy shock, status, deep neural sleep. Lena asked one of the older doctors about him. Why is he still here? She asked. The doctor, an old man named Dr. Murrell, shrugged. No one knows what happened to him. Some say he was part of a secret project. Others say he just got unlucky. We've tried everything. His brain is active, but he never wakes up. Lena was curious. Very curious. She started visiting room 9 every day. She watched the brain monitor connected to Tom. Most coma patients had weak, slow brain waves. But Tom's brain, it was different. It moved like a person who was dreaming. Sometimes it even spiked like he was awake, but his eyes stayed closed. She talked to Tom, even though he couldn't hear her. Who are you, really? She whispered one evening. What are you dreaming about? Days turned into weeks. Lena couldn't stop thinking about him. At night, she read old data files. Many were damaged. But one report said Tom had been working at a research lab under the Earth Science Council, testing something called Project Beacon. It didn't say what the project was, but it mentioned energy from another dimension. Lena was shocked. Was Tom a scientist? An engineer? Why was there no photo of his team? Why was his last name removed? She asked Dr. Murrell again. Forget about it, he said. That project was shut down. The files were sealed. Some say there was an explosion. Others say the place was just erased. But why is he still alive? Lena asked. Dr. Murrell sighed. Because we couldn't let him die. His body didn't age much. His mind stayed active. No one could explain it. That night, Lena broke the rules. She connected Tom's brain to a neural interface device, a newer machine she had been testing for memory therapy. It wasn't approved for use on coma patients yet. But she had to know. As the machine connected, the screen lit up. Lena saw strange symbols on the monitor patterns. That didn't match any human brain activity. Her eyes widened. Is he trying to speak? Then, for a second, the room grew cold. A low hum passed through the floor. The lights flickered. And then Tom blinked. Lena gasped. She rushed to his side. His eyes opened halfway. His lips moved. But no sound came. Tears filled her eyes. You're awake, she whispered. His voice, dry and soft, finally spoke. Where am I? The news spread fast through Station 12. Doctors rushed in. Machines beeped. Scanners were activated. But Lena stayed by Tom's side. He looked weak, confused, and scared. You've been asleep, she told him gently. For 30 years. Tom looked at his hands. 30 years? He repeated. No, that can't be right. You were part of something, Lena said. Do you remember what happened? He closed his eyes again. There was light. A machine. Something went wrong. I tried to stop it. And then nothing. Lena felt chills. She knew this was just the beginning. Tom had secrets buried deep in his mind. Something powerful had put him to sleep. And now, for the first time in 30 years, he was back. But somewhere far above, in the city skies of Earth, a red light blinked on a forgotten satellite. A signal had been sent. Tom was awake, and someone else knew it too. Tom sat on the hospital bed, staring at the wall. His hands shook slightly, and his voice was still weak. He had not walked in 30 years. His muscles were soft. His mind was cloudy, but his eyes were awake. They moved fast, scanning every detail of the room like he was trying to remember everything at once. Dr. Lena stayed close to him. She spoke slowly and kindly, helping him understand what had happened. "You are in Station 12, she said. "A medical facility deep underground. The year is 2075. You were in a coma for 30 years. Tom looked at her with confusion. "I don't remember my full name. Just Tom." And a flash of something. A loud sounds. And then, darkness. Lena took notes carefully. She wanted to record everything he said. Something about Tom's condition was not normal. He wasn't just a coma patient. His brain had stayed active for 30 years. His body had barely aged. It was as if something had protected him. Lena showed Tom the report. She found parts of the file labeled Project Beacon. "Do you remember this?" she asked. Tom stared at the word for a long time. His fingers tapped the bed slowly. "Beacon?" "Yes, it was a test. We wanted to bring energy from another layer of space, not from stars or fuel, but from the in-between." "The in-between?" Lena repeated. Tom nodded. "A place between our world and others, full of light, full of something we didn't understand." Lena's heart beat faster. "What happened during the test?" Tom shut his eyes tightly. "We were warned. Someone said it was dangerous, but we tried anyway. Then there was a flash. I remember pain, and then silence." Lena now understood. One thing for sure, Tom wasn't just a patient. He was the only survivor of a lost experiment. And maybe the only person who had made contact with something from another dimension. Over the next few days, Tom slowly became stronger. Lena helped him with speech therapy, food, and light movement. She avoided telling him too much about the modern world. It was too fast, too strange, too different from the Earth he knew. But behind her calm face, Lena's mind raced. She couldn't sleep properly. She kept studying his brain scans. She ran silent tests while the other doctors were away. Each night, she saw something new, unknown wave patterns, strange flashes, and symbols in his brain activity that looked like codes. "It's like your brain is still receiving something," she whispered during one test. Tom looked at her. "Sometimes I hear voices when I sleep. They don't speak in words, more like colors, feelings. They are calling me back." Lena was shocked. "Calling you back to where?" Tom touched his head gently. "I don't know. But I don't think they ever meant to hurt us. I think they were trying to talk." Lena knew this was bigger than medicine. This was a scientific mystery that had been hidden for 30 years. The Earth Science Council had closed the project, erased the files, and buried Tom in an underground chamber. But why? She had to find out. Late one night, Lena returned to the lower archive room, a dusty, unused place where old files were kept. Most were digital, but some had been printed years ago. After hours of searching, she found a black box marked Restricted, Level 4. Inside, there were broken records from the old lab where Tom had worked. There were maps of a place called Beacon Site 7, pictures of machines with glowing circles, and notes from scientists. One note caught her eye. Test subject T09 shows continued neural activity after exposure. Possible link established. Risk of signal infection. Order immediate containment. T-09. That was Tom. She kept reading and found another warning. Project must be shut down. Alien code spreading through system. One subject in stasis. Recommend Permanent sleep. Lena stepped back. They had wanted to keep Tom asleep forever because they were afraid. The next day, Lena tried to speak to Dr. Muriel. "I think Tom was part of something that could change everything," she said. "We need to tell someone." But the old doctor didn't look happy. He shook his head slowly. "You don't understand, Lena. That project was not just dangerous. It almost tore a hole in space. The council ordered us to hide it. If they know Tom is awake, they'll come for him?" She asked. Dr. Muriel nodded. "Or worse, they might erase him." Lena's hands tightened into fists. "We can't let that happen." Dr. Muriel gave her one last warning. "You're a smart doctor, Lena. Don't let your curiosity destroy you." But Lena didn't stop. That night, she told Tom everything. About the files, the council, and the truth. "I think they tried to keep you hidden," she said. "Because your mind is connected to something they didn't understand." Tom didn't speak for a while. Then he looked at her and said, "Then maybe it's time we understand it." Lena made a decision. She would help Tom recover fully. Then, together, they would return to the old lab, the place where it all started. But far above them, in a tall glass tower in a floating city, a red signal blinked again, and a voice said softly, "Subject T09 has awakened. Send retrieval unit." Someone was watching. The past was no longer buried, and Tom's return had already started. A chain reaction that could not be stopped. Tom stood near the window of his room in Station 12. His legs were weak, but every day he tried to walk a little more. Lena had helped him regain his strength with patience and care. Outside the window, there was only darkness. The facility was deep underground, and the artificial lights gave a soft blue glow. Tom felt like a man who had woken up on a different planet. He looked at his reflection in the glass. His face looked young, too young for someone who should have aged 30 years. His skin had only a few lines. His hair was still dark. He had missed an entire generation of life, yet his body had stayed almost the same. Lena entered the room, holding a tablet in her hands. "I ran more scans," she said. "Your brain still shows unusual activity. Something is moving in your mind, something I can't explain." Tom turned to her. "The dreams are becoming clearer." "What do you see in them?" she asked. Tom sat down slowly. "I see a place filled with light. Not sunlight, but something softer, warmer. I hear sounds like music, but not made by instruments. I feel peace. And sometimes I feel like someone is standing there, trying to speak to me. But I can't understand the words." Lena nodded. "It sounds like you're still connected to whatever you touched during the experiment." Tom looked at her with tired eyes. "Then we need to go back to that place, the lab." Lena knew it was risky. The old lab was shut down and locked long ago. Its location wasn't public anymore, but she had found a map in the restricted files. The beacon Site 7 was hidden in the mountains, deep beneath a collapsed facility. She arranged transport quietly. Only Dr. Muriel knew about it, and he warned her again. "If the council finds out, they'll shut you down." Lena smiled sadly. "Then I hope they find out late." The journey took 6 hours. They used a small transport vehicle and wore protective suits. The lab's surface was broken burnt metal, blackened stone, and silence. No birds, no animals. The ground felt like it remembered something terrible. Tom stood at the edge of the ruins. His legs trembled, but he stayed strong. "I've been here before," he whispered. Together, they found a sealed door hidden under old rubble. Lena used a battery-powered cutter to open it. The smell of dust and metal filled the air as the door slid open. Inside, the hallway was dark. Broken lights flickered on the ceiling. They moved carefully. The place was cold and quiet. Lena's scanner picked up small energy pulses still active after 30 years. "This place is not fully dead," she said. Tom walked slowly, touching the walls. His fingers ran over deep scratches on the surface. Some looked like claw marks, I remember screams, he said softly. And light that came from everywhere. They entered the main lab chamber. The machines were broken, but the central core, the beacon device, was still there. It stood like a silent giant, covered in dust, its ring slightly tilted, its power cells dark. Tom stepped forward. I stood right there, he said, pointing at a circle in the middle of the floor. We activated the core. It started pulling energy from the in-between space. It was beautiful, until something changed. Lena turned on her tablet, searching for remaining data. She found one working port and connected her device. The screen came alive with a low hum. There's an old memory file, she said. I can open it. A video played. It showed the lab 30 years ago. Tom was younger, but looked almost the same. He stood with 4 other people, all wearing white suits. They were talking fast. A timer counted down on the screen behind them. Then the machine turned on. A glowing circle of light appeared in the ring. At first, it was smooth and stable. Then it pulsed, flickered, and grew brighter. One of the scientists shouted, "It's opening too wide." Tom in the video tried to shut it down, but the panel sparked. The light grew until it filled the room. Screams echoed. Then nothing. The video ended. Lena looked at Tom. You tried to stop it. He nodded slowly. And I failed. Lena found another file, hidden deeper in the system. It had a red mark. Private, eyes only, project head, Dr. Kellen Ross. She opened it. It was a message from the project leader. We made contact. The energy is alive, not dangerous, intelligent. It tried to communicate, but the council panicked. They ordered us to shut everything down. I think Tom became part of the link. He's not just a human anymore. He's a bridge. Lena stared at Tom. You're the connection, she whispered. Between our world and theirs. Tom's face grew pale. Then they'll try to stop me again. Suddenly, a beeping sound came from her tablet. Signal detected. She tapped quickly. A silent warning flashed. Unknown drone approaching. 80. 10 minutes. Tom stood up. They found us. Lena grabbed her gear. We have to go. Now. They ran through the hallway, back toward the exit. Behind them, a low rumble echoed. The beacon device gave a soft glow like it had awakened. Outside, the sky was dark. A black drone flew overhead, scanning the ground with red lights. Lena and Tom jumped into the vehicle. As they sped away, the drone followed, but Lena used a signal jammer to block it for a short time. Tom looked back at the ruins as they disappeared behind them. It's starting again, he said. Back at Station 12, they hid the files and erased their trail. Dr. Muriel was waiting. You need to leave, he told Lena. They're coming. Who? She asked. Not just the council, he said. Others. People who have kept this secret for too long. Tom sat down, tired but focused. They tried to bury the truth, he said. But now I'm awake, and I remember more each day. Lena placed her hand on his shoulder. Then we'll find the rest of the truth. Together. Back at Station 12, the lights were dim and the hallways quiet. Tom sat in his room, thinking about everything he saw at the old lab. Images of glowing light, spinning machines, and screaming voices echoed in his mind. Lena sat beside him, with a tablet in her hands. Her face looked tired, but her eyes were sharp and full of questions. I checked the files we downloaded from the lab, she said. Most of them are broken or encrypted. But there's one piece that works. She showed the screen to Tom. It showed a 3D model of the beacon core, the machine that had started it all. Around it were strange shapes, floating symbols and patterns. What are these? She asked. Tom stared at them. They were never part of the machine design. I think they came from the signal. You mean the alien signal? Lena asked. Yes, Tom nodded. These shapes, these patterns, they aren't just decoration. They feel like language. Not in words, but in meaning. Lena was amazed. You're saying the energy we connected with wasn't just power. It was alive. Tom looked serious. That's what Dr. Ross tried to say in his message. He called me a bridge. I didn't understand it before, but now I do. During the explosion, something touched my mind. It didn't hurt me, it stayed with me. Lena stood and started pacing. This is why the council shut the project down. They weren't ready to face something intelligent. Something beyond Earth. Tom looked down at his hands. They were scared. And they used that fear to hide the truth. Later that night, Lena went to the old archive room again. She searched the locked storage and found another piece of information, a small black data cube. It was dusty and had a warning label, property of ESK, high clearance only. She took it to her private lab and connected it to a secure port. The cube opened. Inside were video logs, personal notes, and one final report from Dr. Kellen Ross. The head of Project Beacon. Lena played the video. Dr. Ross appeared on the screen. His face looked tired and stressed. If anyone is watching this, it means you found the truth. Project Beacon was never about free energy. It was about contact. We reached out into the space between dimensions. And something reached back. It was peaceful. It tried to share knowledge. But then the council saw the full signal. They believed. It was too dangerous. They ordered us to shut it down. We refused. That's when the sabotage happened. The core exploded. Tom was the only one who survived, and I believe this signal bonded with him. Lena's heart raced. They put him in a coma chamber, told the world the lab was destroyed in an accident. I tried to stop them, but they erased everything. I'm sending this cube away. If you found it, protect Tom. The future of Earth might depend on him. The screen went black. Lena sat in silence. She rushed to Tom's room. They tried to silence everything, she said. But Dr. Ross saved this for us. He knew you were the key. Tom listened carefully. He felt the truth inside him. The more he remembered, the more he felt the presence in his mind. It was not evil or angry. It was like a quiet voice calling out to be heard. There's something else, Lena added. Dr. Ross's files say that the signal might still be active, somewhere in space, and that it could respond if the right frequency is used. Tom stood up slowly. Then we need to find that signal. We need to finish what we started. But it's not safe here anymore, Lena said. The drone that followed us, it means the council is watching. Tom nodded. Then we disappear. The next day, Lena and Tom left Station 12 in secret. Only Dr. Muriel knew where they were going. They traveled to an old underground hub once used by explorers and researchers. It was now run by a quiet group called the Free Science Union, a small team of people who no longer trusted the Earth Science Council. There, they met Remy, a skilled coder and engineer. He had once worked with Project Beacon but had left before the shutdown. His hair was messy and he wore thick glasses, but his hands moved fast on the keyboard. I always knew they were hiding something, Remy said. You're lucky they haven't sent agents after you yet. Lena showed him the data cube. Remy whistled. This is gold. I can decrypt the full message and try to find the signal path. Tom sat nearby, his hands pressed to his temples. I can still feel it. The signal. It's far, but not gone. Remy worked all night. He used old satellite codes and a special scanner tuned to Beacon's last known frequency. Hours passed. Then, suddenly the screen blinked. Incoming wave detected source. Unknown space zone pattern. Non-human. Language stable. Everyone stared. The signal had answered. Tom stepped forward. Let me connect. Remy hesitated. Are you sure? It could affect your mind again. Tom nodded. I'm already connected. I just need to listen. They connected the signal receiver to the neural band around Tom's head. At first, There was silence. Then dash light. Tom single quotes S mind filled with images, floating structures, stars turning like gears, and shapes of life that were made of energy. The voice came again, not in sound, but in meaning. We waited. You touched the bridge. Do you wish to speak? Tom answered in thought. Yes. His body shook, and Lena grabbed his hand. Tom, are you okay? He opened his eyes. They glowed for a second, then returned to normal. They're peaceful, he said. They're waiting for us, but we must hurry. The council has tracked the signal now. Outside the lab, far above the Earth, several black satellites turned their sensors toward the source, the Earth science. Council had heard the signal too. And they were not planning to listen. They were planning to stop it. The signal had been heard. Tom sat in silence, breathing slowly. His eyes no longer glowed, but his heart still raced. The alien message was still in his mind, like a quiet echo he could not ignore. They're not dangerous, he said at last. They only want to help. They've been waiting for 30 years, Lena looked worried. Then why do I feel like something bad is about to happen? Across the room, Rene stared at his computer screen. Because we weren't the only ones who picked up the signal, he said. I'm reading multiple scans. Satellites are moving. High-level military networks just lit up. They know, Tom whispered. Rene nodded. The Earth science. Council is listening now, and I think they're sending people. That night, the old underground lab where they were hiding felt colder than usual. Rene turned off all outside connections. He blocked every signal and erased their digital trail. But it was too late. A black vehicle flew low across the desert sky. Inside were 4 agents dressed in dark armor. They wore no names or ranks. They didn't speak. They followed orders from Sector Black, the most secret branch of the council. One of them spoke into a small device. Target is confirmed. TO9 is active. Mission: retrieve or terminate. Lena, Tom, and Rene didn't sleep. They packed their data, shut down the lab, and prepared to leave. Lena had found an old escape tunnel that led to the mountains nearby. It hadn't been used in years, but it still worked. Before they left, Tom looked back at the signal screen. It's still there, he said softly. Waiting for us. We'll reach it, Lena promised. But we have to survive first. As they entered the tunnel, lights in the main lab blinked red. Intrusion detected. The agents broke in within minutes. Their steps were fast and silent. They moved like shadows, clearing each room with smooth, practiced motion. They found the lab empty, but not quiet. The signal machine was still active, sending one last pulse into space. An agent touched his earpiece. They've escaped. The leader gave a simple reply. Chase them. No witnesses. The escape tunnel led into dark caves. The ground was wet, and old wires hung from the ceiling. Rene carried the tablet with the signal data. Tom moved slowly but carefully, guided by Lena's steady hand. Suddenly, the tunnel shook. A loud boom echoed behind them. They're blowing the lab. Rene shouted. They don't want anyone finding the truth, Lena said. The tunnel narrowed. At the far end, a small metal door led outside. Beyond it was a rocky mountain path and an old off-grid rover hidden beneath a camo sheet. Rene jumped into the driver's seat. Hold on. The rover sped down the rough road, stones flying under the tires. Behind them, 2 black drones followed, scanning the area with red lights. Tom leaned out the window. They're getting closer. Lena grabbed a small jammer from the bag. This should block their signal just for a moment. She threw it toward the drones. The device exploded in a burst of white light. One drone crashed into the rocks, spinning out of control. The other stayed close. Hang on. Rene shouted. Turning sharply around a cliff, they reached a hidden cave entrance. It was the entrance to a resistance safe house, an old rebel base used during the early space wars. No one had used it in years. Rene entered the code. The doors opened slowly. and the rover rushed inside the safe house. They took a breath. Tom sat down, his body weak again. They won't stop. The council will keep chasing us. They're afraid of what you know, Lena said. They're afraid of what I might become. Tom replied. Rene set up the data on a new system inside the safe house. The signals. Still active, we can still talk to them. But we need more power to send a full message. Where do we get that kind of power? Lena asked. There's one place, Rami said. Tower X, a forgotten communication tower built before the moon colonization. It still has deep space signal range. Tom nodded slowly. Then we go there. But Tower X is far, Remy warned. And council patrols are watching the roads. We'll need help. Lena thought for a moment. I know someone, she said. That night, Lena sent a secure message to an old contact, Mira, a former council pilot who had disappeared years ago. She now worked with off-world smugglers and science rebels. Mira arrived the next day in a silent silver skimmer. Her hair was short and her eyes were sharp like a hawk. So, she said, looking at Tom, you're the sleeping man who made the whole council nervous. Tom nodded. I didn't mean to. Well, Mira smirked. Sometimes the best revolutions start by accident. They traveled at night, flying low to avoid scanners. Mira knew the skies better than anyone. They passed over deserts, ruined cities, and broken satellites. During the flight, Tom had another vision. He saw the glowing place again, the space between worlds. This time, it showed him a door floating in the stars. And a voice spoke again. Clear this time. Human, you are not alone. Come, speak. The bridge awaits. He woke up with a gasp. We're almost there, Mira said. Tower X is just beyond that ridge. Tower X stood tall and rusted, half covered by vines and time. Its lights were off, but the core still had power. Remy started connecting the signal booster. We can send a full message now, he said. To their world, to the bridge. Lena looked at Tom. Are you ready? Tom took a deep breath. Yes. But just as they started the final sequence, a sharp alarm blared. A black ship had landed. Nearby. Council agents were coming again. Mira grabbed her weapon. Buy us time. Lena stood beside her. I'll help. Tom sat in the center of the K tower, the signal device glowing around him. His eyes closed as the connection formed again. The agents stormed in. Gunfire echoed, but Tom didn't move. The signal reached full strength. Light filled the tower. A glowing ring appeared behind him, and then the voice returned. Bridge is open. Shall we begin? The tower shook as energy filled the air. Tom sat in the center of the room, his eyes glowing again. His body stayed still, but his mind was somewhere far beyond the earth. Around him, the signal machine buzzed with power. The ring behind him spun slowly, glowing with soft white light. Outside, the battle had begun. Lena and Mira stood behind broken walls, firing stun weapons at the incoming agents. These agents were fast and silent. Their black armor reflected no light. They moved like shadows. We can't hold them for long, Mira shouted, reloading her weapon. Lena ducked behind a crate. Just a few more minutes. Tom's almost ready. Inside the tower, Remy watched the signal machine. His fingers danced across the keys as he monitored the data flow. He had never seen anything like this. The machine wasn't just sending data, it was receiving it too. Suddenly, the screen lit up with new symbols. Strange shapes flowed across the monitor in repeating patterns. Then a line of human words appeared. Connection made. Voice of the bridge open. Prepare for exchange. Remy stared in awe. It's happening. Tom's mind floated through stars. He no longer felt his body or the cold air of the tower. He stood inside a space that wasn't space, a place without ground, sky, or time. It was quiet, but not empty. Then they came. They appeared not as creatures, but as forms of light, floating shapes that changed as they moved. They had no mouths, no faces, but their presence was peaceful. They spoke without words, through thought and emotion. You have returned. The door you opened still shines. Tom felt his voice return inside this space. I didn't mean to enter before. It was an accident. There are no accidents when minds reach across stars. You were chosen not by us, but by the bridge itself. Tom was silent for a moment. What is the bridge? It is the link between thinking worlds. A place between your space and ours. A channel of light, knowledge, and peace. Tom felt warmth in his chest. Why did you wait? We waited for one who would listen. Not with fear, but with hope. Tom thought of Lena, of Rami, of Mira, and all the people who had helped him. He thought of those who feared the truth, like the Earth Science Council. They're afraid of you, he said. They think you'll destroy us. We do not wish to harm. But truth always breaks walls built by lies. Tom nodded. Then let me be your voice. The voice is yours. Back in the tower, the ring began to glow brighter. Light spread across the walls, pushing back the darkness. The ground vibrated gently. Mira looked up from her cover. What is he doing? Rami stepped forward. He's not just talking. He's becoming the link. Lena's eyes filled with hope. He's finishing what was started 30 years ago. Outside the tower, the lead agent gave an order. Send the suppressor beam. End the signal. One of the agents fired a weapon. A bolt of dark energy flew toward the tower's core, but just before it could hit, a wall of light appeared, stopping it mid-air. The energy melted into nothing. Inside the bridge, Tom opened his eyes and raised his hand. No more hiding. The light spread across the world inside his mind, and then outward into the real world. Around the planet, satellites blinked. Machines that hadn't worked in decades suddenly came to life. Old communication towers powered on. Even old explorers on Mars and moon stations saw strange signals flashing across their screens. Everywhere, people heard the same message. We are not alone. We never were. But now we are ready to speak. The message came in every language. Every form: pictures, sounds, symbols. People didn't feel fear. They felt calm. In homes, cities, schools, and stations, people stopped what they were doing and looked up at the sky. Back at the tower, the agents began to retreat. Their weapons no longer worked. Their helmets cracked from inside as if something invisible had touched them. One agent fell to his knees, holding his head. They're inside. My mind showing me something. Lena and Mira moved cautiously. Are they attacking? Mira asked. No, Lena said. They're sharing. The agents dropped their weapons. Some even removed their helmets. They looked confused, scared. And then, peaceful. Inside the bridge, Tom saw something new. The beings of light showed him the past. He saw Earth long ago, ancient people looking at stars, building stone towers to track light, drawing symbols that matched the alien language. Contact had happened before, but it had been forgotten, hidden, or twisted into stories. You were never meant to be alone, the voice said. But fear closed the door. You opened it again. Tom felt tears on his face, even though his real body did not cry. What do I do now? He asked. Speak your truth. Build the new bridge. Others will follow. Tom opened his eyes. He was back in the tower. Lena rushed to his side. Tom, are you okay? He smiled. I'm more than okay. I understand now. Mira walked in, followed by Rami. Even the agents stood nearby, no longer enemies. They shared something with us, said one of the agents quietly. Memories, light. I don't know how to explain it. Tom stood slowly and steadily. We don't have to explain it, he said. We have to show it to the world. Over the next few days, the message from the bridge spread around the planet. People from every nation heard and saw the signal. Protests rose in cities. People demanded the truth about Project Beacon. Old scientists came forward, sharing what they knew. The Earth Science Council tried to stop it, but it was too late. The truth had already spread. And now, the world was awake. Lena helped organize a global summit. Mira flew leaders from different space colonies to the site of Tower X. Tom stood before them, not as a scientist, not as a victim, but as a human. Bridge between two worlds, he spoke simple words. We are not alone, but we are not weak. We are not lost. We are ready. A week had passed since the signal reached the world. The planet had changed more in 7 days than it had in the last 100 years. The truth had been revealed. People were no longer scared. Instead, they were curious, hopeful, and ready to move forward. At the heart of it all stood Tom, the man who slept for 30 years, then became the voice between humans and the beings of light. The sky over Tower X was clear that morning. For the first time in years, the old tower was not hidden or guarded. It had become a place of gathering, a peaceful symbol of a new beginning. Thousands of people had arrived from different parts of the world. Scientists, doctors, workers, students, and leaders. Even those who once tried to stop the signal now stood silent in the crowd, listening. A wide stage had been built outside the tower, with a glowing ring behind it, the same ring that once held Tom during the experiment. Now it stood as a doorway between Earth and something greater. Tom stepped onto the stage, wearing simple clothes. He didn't look like a hero. He looked like a man who had seen something beautiful and wanted to share it. Beside him stood Lena, Mira, and Ramai. Lena had become a symbol of bravery in science. Mira was praised as a protector of truth. Rama was seen as the mind who unlocked the code and helped open the bridge. But Tom, he was something else. He was now called the first voice. Tom looked at the crowd. Cameras hovered in the air, broadcasting the event all over Earth. The world was watching. He spoke in a soft, steady voice. 30 years ago, I went to sleep by accident. But I believe now it was not just sleep, it was preparation. When I woke up, I was different. Not stronger or smarter, just more open. The crowd was silent. I saw something beyond our world. A light, a voice, a truth. And that truth is simple: we were never alone. He turned and looked at the glowing ring. They waited for us to be ready, not with ships or weapons, but with peace, with understanding, with a message. Tom raised his hand. The ring behind him began to glow again. From its center, a soft white light appeared. Slowly, like a sunrise, the light opened into a window showing stars, colors, and forms that didn't belong to Earth. Gasps came from the crowd. Then, from the light, came a shape. Not a machine, not a creature, but a being of pure energy and form, floating with grace. Its shape changed slowly like clouds in motion. It gave no fear, only peace. Tom turned back to the people. This is our first guest. It has no name as we understand. It is not here to rule us or change us. It is here to speak. And listen. The being pulsed with soft light. In the minds of all who stood near, a single message came, not in words, but in meaning. You are not children. You are not lost. You are ready. The message brought many to tears. In the days that followed, Earth began to build something new. The leaders of the world formed the Global Bridge Alliance, a group meant to study, protect, and grow the connection between Earth and the beings beyond. Tower X was renamed the Beacon. It became the center of peaceful exchange. People from every culture sent their art, their music, their science to share across the stars. The energy from the bridge was clean and strong. New power plants were built using this energy, ending fuel shortages across poor cities and small islands. For the first time in history, light came to every home, even in the darkest places. Languages were translated faster, disease research advanced. Water was cleaned. Machines were built that could float, scan, and heal faster than ever, and the fear of being alone vanished. Tom, Lena, Mira, and Ramai remained in Beacon Tower. But Tom had changed again. Each time he touched the ring, he felt something new inside. His thoughts became clearer. His memory returned in ways he couldn't explain. He began to understand the symbols, the shapes, even the feelings of the light beings. One night, while sitting alone in the tower, Tom spoke to Lena. "I think the bridge is changing me." Lena looked concerned. "Is it hurting you?" "No," he said. "It's helping me remember everything, even things I never lived. It's like their knowledge is being shared through me." "You mean like a teacher?" Tom smiled. "Yes, or maybe just a messenger." Lena touched his shoulder. "Whatever you are, I'm glad you came back." Back in the cities, the world slowly adapted. Some people still had doubts. Some were angry that the truth had been hidden for so long. But when they saw the light for themselves, most of them changed. They realized this wasn't about power. It was about possibility. Children in schools learned about the bridge and the beings beyond as part of normal lessons. They drew pictures of stars and sent them through Beacon Tower, and sometimes they even received pictures back, strange, beautiful ones. One day, a new signal arrived at the tower. It was different. The beings of light had connected with another species on a planet far away, but also linked through the bridge. These beings were not like humans, but they were curious too. And now, they wanted to meet Earth. Tom stood at the center of the ring. As always, Lena, Mira, and Raime stood behind him. The portal opened once more and a new form entered. This one was not of light, but of gentle movement and color, floating like wind and glass. Tom smiled. The bridge had become more than a link. It had become a doorway to a greater family, one built not by blood, but by understanding. In his final message to the world, Tom said, "I slept for 30 years, and when I woke up, I found a world afraid of its own past. But now we walk toward the future. We are no longer alone. And more importantly, we are no longer afraid. The stars are not just lights in the sky, they are voices. And we have finally learned how to listen.